Greetings to you and welcome to our daily Devo for Saturday, April the 6th. Saturday, April the 6th, and we're still waiting for spring to beat winter. Get him out of here. The Greatest Drama is today's devotion title, and the author is Dorothy Sayers. She's a very interesting character. Google her. She did a lot for trying to help needy people, standing up for the rights of workers and things of that nature. And because of what she did, some people labeled her a communist. But when you think about it, helping the poor and standing up for people without power, I believe that's what Jesus wants us to do. The Greatest Drama, again, Dorothy Sayers. Christianity is, of course, not the only religion that has found the best explanation of human life in the idea of an incarnate and suffering God. We might, therefore, prefer not to take this tale too seriously. There are disquieting points about it. Here we had a man of divine character walking and talking among us, and what did we find to do with him? The common people, indeed, heard him gladly, it says, but our leading authorities in church and state considered that he talked too much and uttered too many discomforting truths. So we bribed one of his friends to hand him over quietly to the police, and we tried him on a rather vague charge of creating a disturbance and had him publicly flogged and hanged on the common gallows, thanking God we were rid of a knave. All this was not very creditable to us, even if he was, as many people thought and think, only a harmless, crazy preacher. But if the church is right about him, it was more discreditable still. Discreditable. Say that 3 times fast. For the man we hanged was God Almighty. So that is the outline of the official story, the tale of the time when God was the underdog and got beaten, when he submitted to the conditions he had laid down and became a man like the men he had made, and the men he had made broke him and killed him. This is the dogma we find so dull. This terrifying drama of which God is the victim and the hero. If this is dull, then what in heaven's name is worthy to be called exciting? The people who hanged Christ never to do them justice accused him of being a bore. On the contrary, they thought him too dynamic to be safe. It has been left for later generations to muffle up that shattering personality and surround him with an atmosphere of tedium. We have very efficiently pared the claws of the Lion of Judah, certified him meek and mild, and recommended him as a fitting household pet for pale curates and pious old ladies. To those who knew him, however, he in no way suggested a milk and water person. They objected to him as a dangerous firebrand. True, he was tender to the unfortunate, patient with honest inquirers, and humble before heaven. But he insulted respectable clergymen by calling them hypocrites. He referred to King Herod as that fox. He went to parties in disreputable company and was looked upon as a gluttonous man and a wine bibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. He assaulted indignant tradesmen and threw them and their belongings out of the temple. He drove a coach and horses through a number of sacrosanct and hoary regulations. Hoary is Hoary. He cured diseases by any means that came handy, with a shocking casualness in the matter of other people's pigs and property. He showed no proper deference for wealth or social position. When confronted with neat dialectical traps, he displayed a paradoxical humor that affronted serious-minded people, and he retorted by asking disagreeably searching questions that could not be answered by rule of thumb. He was empathetically not, he was emphatically not a dull man in his human lifetime. And if he was God, there can be nothing dull about God either. But he had a daily beauty in his life that made us ugly. And officialdom felt that the established order of things would be more secure without him. So they did away with God in the name of peace and quietness. And on the third day, he rose again. What are we to make of that? One thing is certain. If he was God and nothing else, his immortality means nothing to us. If he was man and no more, his death is no more important than yours or mine. But if he really was both God and man, then when the man Jesus died, God died too. And when the God Jesus rose from the dead, man rose too, because they were one and the same person. The church binds us to no theory about the exact composition of Christ's resurrection body. A body of some kind there had to be, since man cannot perceive the infinite otherwise than in terms of space and time. It may have been made from the same elements as the body that disappeared so strangely from the guarded tomb, but it was not that old, limited, mortal body, though it was recognizably like it. In any case, those who saw the risen Christ remained persuaded that life was worth living and death a triviality, an attitude curiously unlike that of the modern defeatist, who is firmly persuaded that life is a disaster and death, rather inconsistently, a major catastrophe. Now nobody is compelled to believe a single word of this remarkable story. God, says the church, has created us perfectly free to disbelieve in him as much as we choose. If we do disbelieve, then he and we must take the consequences in a world ruled by cause and effect. Now, we may call this story exhilarating, or we may call it devastating. We may call it revelation, or we may call it rubbish, but if we call it dull, then words have no meaning at all. That God should play the tyrant over man is a dismal story of unrelieved oppression. That man should play the tyrant over man is the usual dreary record of human futility. But that man should play the tyrant over God and find him a better man than himself is an astonishing drama indeed. Any journalist hearing of it for the first time would recognize it as news, and the news is capitalized. Those who did hear it for the first time actually called it news, and good news at that. Though we are apt to forget that the word gospel ever meant anything so sensational. It means good news. Perhaps the drama is played out now, and Jesus is safely dead and buried. Perhaps. It is ironical and entertaining to consider that once, at least in the world's history, those words might have been spoken with complete conviction, and that was upon the eve of the resurrection. Dorothy Sayers is an interesting thinker. Just like Frederick Buechner, they have this ability to look at what we look at and you see it completely different, see it more in depth maybe. Maybe they're wearing 3D glasses and we just don't have those. But these thoughts about how we think and how we approach this tells a lot about us, tells a lot about our ability to have faith or not, our ability to humble ourselves or not. the ability to believe in something beyond ourselves or not. What God the Father sent the Son to do, even though it's for us on the pages of our Bibles, remains a mystery to us. We must take it by faith, or more than likely we will not take it at all. And if we do not take it by faith, we will not believe these things by faith, then they will make no difference in our lives. Let's take them by faith. Take them by faith. The title today of our devotion, The Greatest Drama. And if you're like me, I really enjoy a drama that has me guessing to the end, has me saying toward the end, I did not see that coming. And I'll tell you the truth. The Pharisees, those who guarded Jesus's tomb, those who plotted against him, they did not see this coming. Blessings to you today.